Raymond Santana, in his case, he gave Kim Kardashian West a shout out today. Just to remind you, in 1990, Santana and 4 others were convicted in the beating and rape of a jogger in New York Central Park. After serving years in prison, he and the rest of what became known as the Central Park Five were finally exonerated. Someone else committed the crime. DNA evidence confirmed it. Today, Raymond Santana tweeted, "I gave Kim Kardashian a lot of flack about speaking on prison reform, but when I found out she went to champion on Alice Johnson's behalf, I had to eat my words. Apologies to Kim Kardashian. Recognize your work. Salute." And in that one tweet, Raymond Santana was far more generous to Kim Kardashian West than the president ever was to him or the other members of the Central Park Five. In the weeks after the attack, Citizen Trump bought these full-page newspaper ads calling for return of the death penalty. When the 5 were exonerated, he refused to accept it, and when the city agreed to a $41 million settlement with them, he wrote an opinion piece calling it a disgrace. He has, to this day, never apologized to Raymond Santana, who joins us, or any member of the Central Park Five. Raymond, I want to ask you the same question that I just asked Van Jones. How do you make sense of the president who can show mercy to someone like Alice Marie Johnson, but still to this day hasn't apologized to you or the other 4 of the Central Park Five?
You know, Anderson, it's when I first heard about it, I really thought that it was a good thing. I thought that it was a great thing that somebody was finally pardoned, that he had taken a step to do something, for Alice Johnson. But there's a part of me that, because of this man's track record, because we know that he's deceitful, he has lied several times, he has fabricated things, it's very hard to believe that it comes from a genuine place. Then we find out that Kim Kardashian, went and spoke to him and consulted with him, and she swayed him to do this. So it just proves that at the end of the day, like, he's still full of lies and he's still full of trickery, and that it hurts because here we are, right, in the pardon of Scooter Libby, right, and I quote, Donald said that he didn't know the man personally, but he spoke to several people, and several people said that this guy was done unjustly, and that's what he went by. And in our case, we had DNA evidence, we had the prosecutor, right, we had several people who championed for us, and none of that mattered to him, and he didn't care. We were still guilty in his eyes. So at the end of the day, this move doesn't look like it comes from a good place. We can't trust him. You can't just dangle Kim Kardashian and Kanye West in our face and say, look, I have a change of heart and I deserve a pass.
We heard from Kim Kardashian a bit ago, the fact that there's been a celebrity component to some of these pardons, whether it's with her or Sylvester Stallone and Jack Johnson. Does that matter in your mind? Or at the end of the day, I mean, if a commutation or pardon happens, is that what counts most?
I think that it does matter. In our case, you had Ken Burns who did his research and seek the truth and seek justice, and he knew that we were innocent, so he stepped up and decided to do something for it. And I think that it weighs a lot because our celebrities, this is what they're supposed to do. They have this major influence. They have a duty to the public, those people who support them. They're supposed to champion for a cause like this.
I just want to read a portion of the full-page ad that then Donald Trump took out in the Daily News. It was back in 1989 about you and your co-defendants. He wrote, quote, "Criminals must be told that their civil liberties end when an attack on our safety begins." Does that at all sound like the same man who's pardoning people who have a criminal record now?
Well, I mean, it might look like that there's a change, but I don't want to give him that pass just yet. He needs to do more for our community. We have a lot of issues. If you want to pardon people, speak to the Innocence Project in New York City. I'm sure they have a whole list of people that deserve pardons. I mean, there's other issues that we have to deal with before we can trust Donald Trump. I mean, there's police brutality, mass incarceration, job unemployment, education funding for programs that he has cut in the past. Like, he has to do all these things and make it right before we can finally trust this man.
The president has shown compassion by pardoning someone like Alice Marie Johnson or commuting a sentence. Do you have any kind of expectation that he may also show compassion and admit he was wrong and apologize to you and the other 4, or at least admit he was wrong?
I mean, if he does, it's a first step in the right direction. But before I believe him, he has to do a whole lot more for our community.
Raymond Santana, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you so much, Anderson.
Well, coming up next, more breaking news. A fascinating story. First Lady Melania Trump firing